Hello, Froggy here, and we've finally got a fallback point that takes you out of box. I thought such a thing might be possible, but until now we never encountered it. You'll need someone with Salvation's grip, of course, and when you're actually out, you're probably going to want a sword and Navigator. It can be done solo, but you're probably going to have an easier time if you've got a buddy to help put the crystals down. I'll be showing you how you can easily get both people out as well. Thanks to Avvy and Elite, Eater of Crayons, for discovering this particular fallback point. Just gonna put a low light gear on so it's easier to die. They managed to spot an odd set of potential spawn points in Alcahest and decided to investigate, and that led us to here. So you're going to want to get the default spawn in the lure. It's actually very important that you come from the previous load. If you join someone at the lure, you're not going to get the fallback out of box. The default extends in that direction, so you want to take a few steps backwards and block it off with Salvation script. I find this pattern of 5 shots works well. You want to be sure to strafe there. I set up a loadout to make that switch there easier. Of course, you don't have to worry about that if you have someone else blocking off the area with crystals. There's a bit of solid ground up above that I am trying to Navigator fly to. If you're doing this with full ammo because you have a buddy helping you with the stasis crystals, there is a place that you can sword fly to instead of having to do this vertical climb. But the area up here is kind of interesting. It turns out that this is around where the Enclave would be, and there is a small piece of it that is present in this load. Just these little structures here. Just enough for you to land and set a spawn point. I'm gonna get my ammo up here. For that, you want to have your max ammo as low as possible when you're alive. And then, after you die, you want to set your ammo, well, your max ammo as high as possible. Because when you're dead, ammo acts as a percent. And you can see my ammo's gone up a bit. A few rounds of that, and I'm back at full. The regular map would be up in that direction, so we're going to go check out some of these objects. So, if you look in front of me right there, you can notice something funny with the gun. It kind of pops up when you look away and back at it. The structure you see below, right in front of me, is what you would be sword flying to if you had more ammo at the beginning, and you didn't want to Navigator fly up. This entire thing is solid. You'll notice I was unable to mantle up the side of it there. Out of box geometry generally doesn't let you mantle. Not quite sure what the deal is with that. Anyways, this structure is present in the previous load. Just getting a little bit of ammo there. These spinning fans are also solid. They failed the bullet test, so they're definitely entities. You also don't seem to be able to set spawn points on them. The blades are solid, though. Let's keep going. All of the rocks and terrain you see around here is intangible. Sadly, the gun flipping thing doesn't work at this distance. The gun and base here are not, so you can run around them. This dish part is probably normal, but I'm gonna go to the far side over here just to be safe. I know that if you try to set a spawn point on the big gun thing, that would work. And this Cabal bulldozer thing is solid as well. Now, if you've got two people, the person who placed the stasis crystal can fetch ammo, and then IRB out to join you. It's going to drop down real quick here, and avoid setting a spawn point, so I'll respawn back at the entrance of the gun thing. Just making myself up to where you just saw me in the other zone. And this is probably a good spot to set our IRB point. Now we've just got to die to the lure load. You'll have to resist your urge to do anything fancy here, because if you fly off the ledge and die, you'll have to possibly rejoin and go back and do that part again. You may be wondering how we'll get out of map here, but what you shouldn't be wondering is how we wouldn't. It turns out almost all of the ground around here is intangible, making it very easy to get out of the map, which is pretty convenient for us. That'll make it very easy to get on the wrong side of this load zone, which generally makes for a pretty good death to the load. This one is pretty consistent. You'll just want to jump on the end of this tube and then slowly approach around here, about in the center of the hallway. And my ghost is out of box in the lure. That'll let any fire team members join you out of box without them needing to do the fallback themselves. Great for ammo. Let's go check out that gun. So they've got guard railings around this thing, which honestly feels a little out of character for the Cabal. Also, I kind of suspect they're not wide enough. But the staircases are pretty convenient for us, so I'll let that slide. You don't really get to have a good close-up view of most of this stuff when you're in the mission regularly, so it's nice to be able to play on these catwalks. Gonna resist the urge to just grapple up that. Nice to be able to just use basic jumps when you can. The first time I came out this way, I tried to regen ammo while standing on this gun, and promptly respawned back at the fake Enclave. A little bit of invisible ground there. But yeah, that was not pleasant. I was kind of hoping that I'd climb that little antenna. Oh well. That's where we would continue, but I'm feeling we go there instead. Might as well get a little bit closer before we generate back to full to make the flight. Oh, wait, already at 70. There was one of these on IO, but I believe it was mostly outside of the true edge. Here, however, we can get a good look and fly all around it. They've got these weird archway things. Some of it almost reminds me of the Darkness architecture. Very maze-like in here. Of course, all of the maze walls are intangible, so they don't really pose anything of a challenge. But it's nice to pretend. Let's get a close-up aerial view. It's very shattered looking, and we've got something of a labyrinth in the middle. We can go ahead and skip to the center part here. I don't think I have the sword dexterity to properly follow it. You can see underneath we've got more of those archways. I'm not sure why we would need these sort of structures where they'd never be seen, but who knows what this area is for. I forget if we encountered the core area of this place back in Season of Arrivals, was it? But anyways, very cool looking. But wait, there's more. It turns out that's not the only fallback that breaks the box in this mission. If we head back to the previous area, we can get the same sort of thing. Just gonna toss that bond back on because we're going to want to die after hitting the load. There is a subtle visual cue for when you've done that. I'll let you see if you can spot that for yourself. Did you figure it out? Anyways, now that we've got the default, it's time to block it off. You don't want to move too far on the ground because you'll set a new spawn point, but within about 7, maybe 9 meters is fine. And back into flying mode. But we know how this song and dance goes. Our next target is over there. The neat part about this version is that you can see all those lightning environmental effects. And they are quite interesting to see up close. I was hoping that there would be more of the time distortions out of box that we could fly around and see, but sadly that didn't seem to be the case. Although you can get into that one way off to the left there, which I don't think you normally can because of turnbacks, but I'll skip that for now. And this is kind of a long flight, so let's speed it up even more. Don't go too far to the left or you risk hitting the box barrier, and then you'll have to do that whole flight again. Looks like I'm a little low, but I think I still have some height banked I can recover. And there we go. Time to generate ammo again. If you've got people wanting to join you using IRB, the easiest place to do that is probably on top of Savathun's ship. You have to be careful because we do have the box barrier to contend with. So you're going to want to fly off to the side until we get around it. I haven't had much luck going above. Not sure how high it is, but it is higher than I thought it would be. After a bit of flying here, you can start curving to the left. I tend to aim for a little bit before the center point here. Your buddies in the other load can run out as far as they can, and as long as it's somewhere that you can reach, it should be fine. Now let's take a look at what you'll have to do to hit this IRB. Once again, we've got the conveniently not quite their wall to go through. This time, however, we need to not die to the load. Luckily, not dying is pretty easy. Instead of approaching slowly, just jump onto where the load is, and you should load safely. If you can find where the load is. They didn't hit it yet. There we go. Now, gotta make our way up top. You can stasis climb or use a single grapple point. I'm just using Navigator because I can. And the walkway across here is solid. Just run about as far as you can here, or at least until you line up with your buddy Out of Box. Here's probably good enough. Really, I shouldn't be standing on the ground because now I'm going to have to run that whole distance again. Alas. Now for the death to the load. The load zone is right around here where you would first enter the ship. You can hit it on this sort of thing that I'm dropping down to now. I've had some luck dropping off the side here and dying to the load. Well, didn't happen that time, but luckily it is quite retryable. See if I get it this time. Alright, maybe we should try a different tactic. We'll hit the load if we walk forward, so let's just try doing that really slowly. Ah, there we go. So maybe try that one instead. I'm not sure which is more consistent. We can go all the way to the other end of Savathun's ship, but it's not really much different than the parts we've already seen, so I'm just gonna take a look inside of this instead. The outside grating is somewhat solid in spaces. See, it kind of pushed me a little bit there. But the room itself is pretty empty, though. The real spectacle is the lightning. When we were here in the other load, the environmental effects weren't present, because you wouldn't really need them when you're running around inside the ship. But on the outside, we've got some lovely lightning to look at. And below us, there's a layer of dust that is a fairly interesting visual effect. Looks like we get a nice spawn point maybe there, not sure. Let's go play with lightning. Whew, that's close. Well, I imagine Guardians aren't immune to lightning. At least you've got the ghosts to take care of afterwards. Don't seem to be taking damage, but I'm gonna put that up to this lightning rod I'm carrying. Those keep you safe, right? I'm no electrician. That dust layer is very interesting. Kind of makes it look like I'm flying through a field of static. Might as well take a look at what this labyrinth looks like with the lighting effects. So much static. Largely the same, though. Well, hopefully you enjoy this, and we'll have to see if there's more fallbacks that put you out of box. And I'll leave you with one more clip of lightning.